Lori's on.
We go down. Yes, it was exactly where we were supposed to. So last year, but those need to be Alex in front of him, the rest are silent. Very nice. So today. And up to that corner there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was like. There's a way to do it.
Yeah. And I'll like.
There's a fire at West.
Someone else ready to go and like.
Please.
There's a fire
I
at
didn't
West
realize
Water.
that.
You know what they're.
Really?
Yes, started today and then, or they found it.
That's still, that's Akron County.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, good.
I have watched duty, is where I.
Yeah. I have that too.
It's 160 acres already.
They'll probably go to Colorado though. Or like not this way.
Yeah, it's right on the border, yeah.
That's
5 miles southeast of Westwater.
What is?
A fire,
There's a fire today?
yes, 160 acres already.
Jeez, that's.
At noon it was 6
In
acres.
Utah?
You said southeast of Westwater.
Yep,
Yep.
here it is.
What was that? I didn't hear.
On the Utah-Colorado state line. Yeah, it's.
So it's like a Dolores Triangle?
What was that?
Westwater is right before.
Was that Sharon? I didn't hear.
Yeah.
The west-
So if it's south,
Put it there.
it's southwest.
Fire.
Oh, there.
That'd be like towards Dolores,
Those in the waiting room.
right?
It's right below I-70,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where they put in for Westwater.
I like, Westwater. This is good.
I know, but this like right here, it's called the Dolores
Right,
Triangle.
okay.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right.
All right, everybody.
So we're both right.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's 3:01 on September the 9th, and this is the Moab Tourism Advisory Board meeting. My name's Wendell Williams, and we'll do some introductions. I am the vice chair. Lori McFarland's out of town, but is joining us today. And so if we could just go around and do introductions. Wendell Williams, vice chair of Moab Tourism Advisory Board.
Howard Trumholm, board member.
Cora Phillips, Director of Moab Chamber of Commerce.
Sharon Kinsley, board member.
Alex Borchevsky, board member.
Jason Taylor, Moab City Council. Board member.
Angie Book, Director of OSA.
Biga Metzner, Director of the Moab to Monument Valley Film Commission.
Nick Saleta, Moab Office of Tourism.
Holly Hartford, Moab Office of Tourism.
And online we have
Ryan Martinez, Grand County Commission.
Lori. Do you want to chime in and say you're here? You might be muted. While Laura's doing that, we also have visiting us today, we have Leslie from Madden Media, and we have Campbell Levy from Camp Stories.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. All right, great, thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you. At this point, we'll open it up to any conflicts of interest, disclosures, and ex parte communications. Well, anyone? Yes.
I will be meeting with the governor this week. On Thursday, he's supposed to be coming down to do a little run around in Moab. And conversate with some of the business owners, talk about tourism and film in Utah. So I'll be happy to Thursday.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, do we have any citizens to be heard today? Citizens to be heard. I don't know if we have any presentations today. So, board member reports, let's, got a lot to go through. A lot of this is actually, gonna be pretty easy to go through. A lot of it's just, updates. But in terms of board member reports, let's just, give everybody a chance to say something. I just want to say thanks to, Mick and Ellie for your help with the, agenda this week and the work you guys will do.
You're welcome.
Run up swollen board members until after our agenda and see if you have time.
We could do that, yeah.
I'd make a motion to do.
I think we always forget it.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't take us long to do a real quick. board
Yeah,
meeting
be
report,
quick.
'cause, Yeah,
Do you mind if I give an airport board report too, just briefly, in addition to my board member report?
Yep.
Okay, I'll talk about the airport, going through pretty sizable taxiway improvement and with a new director, which I think is really gonna help process. One of the impacts of the tourism board to consider is the skydiving festival that couldn't happen this year because of this construction, so keep that in mind when the special grants marketing comes online here a little bit later. Employments are good, Contour is doing well, and the county is very focused on developing an airport as economic development beyond tourism, and that's one of the reasons all these taxi lines are going in, is to help expand the hangar space, and that drives gas sales and all sorts of other tax pots way above and beyond tourism, and not discounting that that's a critical part. Some mechanics of the board, the FBO, which is the fixed base operator, was given a board position on the airport board, and that position has been suggested to the commission, and they will make a determination at an upcoming board meeting. On board member front, quickly, two hats. The bakery summer has probably, on record, measure for inflation, not been great. Actually quite devastating. And I've heard that categorically from a number of businesses throughout town that, you know, it seems to be ongoing now for multiple years. This is not an anomaly year. It seems just a continuation. So that's that. We're doing all we can to cut costs, cut back on employees until the, you know, brief busy season of the fall comes. Good news, Rocky Mountaineer, my seasonal job, is again showing an uptick in ticket sales. And for next year's launch of a brand new product, rebranding, if you will, so to speak, our ticket sales for that next year are 200% above what they were this year for a regular route. So those add hundreds upon hundreds of hotel room nights to our community, with very little impact, to be quite honest, lots of dining meals. So it's happy to report great success in that regard, and a very sizable investment coming into the Moab market from this private company.
Great. Thank you. That's awesome.
Rebecca Monso, I'm board member, also sales manager over at Red Cliffs Lodge. I guess my update would be renovations. We're still ongoing with those. However, our Colorado room has finally pretty much been finished. And then the main lodge is supposed to open November 1st. So we're really excited about that and the new restaurant opening, and we have some things for the community in the works, so be on the lookout for those things, and yeah, we're excited.
So with the Chamber of Commerce on September 16th, we will have a luncheon at the Mark with the Utah Office of Tourism. And Ali will also be there to speak for the Moab Office of Tourism and how the TRT funds are being utilized. So it's a time to show off a little bit and show the alignment and all the great work that Nick and Ali have done and this board has done. Then October 2nd, we have our Moab City debate amongst candidates at Star Hall, followed by a meet and greet on the 9th. And we're still working on the plans for the December holiday festivities to include the tree lighting ceremony at Swanee Park, and then the electric light parade on 6th Saturday. It's all coming together. It's been fun working with Ali and Nick to build that out a little bit more.
Macon Arches are picking up. It's actually been busier this week than it was over Labor Day weekend. So it's a good sign, even though the timed entries are back on. People are still getting in. There's still plenty of tickets available every day. The MIC is actually hosting our annual National Public Lands Day celebration Thursday on the 25th. 5 to 7:30, make sure you come. It is so much fun. We have so much fun there. All of our partners, everyone has a table. And gives out information, live band, popcorn,
Let's do another plug again. What is this? What day is this again?
the Thursday, 9:25.
From 5 to 7?
From 5 to 7:30. We're also hoping that the new film for Canyonlands National Park will be finished, and we will be debuting it there in our auditorium.
Cool.
A tour events page.
I think Noel was gonna
Oh,
do that.
perfect.
I do have one question for you. Museum, the movie museum, is that,
It's not open right now.
that's, I didn't.
I don't know when that will open.
Okay,
What, reopen?
It will-
Restaurants, Spot 98 are back open for the season. We had a little break in August, much needed break for all the staff. Everyone got a good break, and myself included. And Labor Day weekend was pretty strong. This past week was kind of moderate. We expected that. It should be moderate business for another week or two, and then it should really ramp up by the end of the month. So we're on track to at least hang out with, be flat with our numbers or just a little bit more. So we're just hoping that the weather's good and brings a lot of people out. But yeah.
As far as the city hat on, I've been kind of talking about sidewalks for a while now and stuff. I think my last report was that we put a bid in, we didn't get any bids. We put it out again and we got 2 bids. And so we did pick a bid. It's my understanding there was a bid picked within just within the last like 2 days. And they're working on getting all the contracts signed and stuff like that. And I'm really pushing hard with the city and stuff. The first second is done is, as I hope it's in front of the MIC to get that cleaned up, for rocking out mirrors, those bus guests that are docking there and stuff, or whatever you call it. That sidewalk, I think, really needs to be repaired, doing that street. And then they're kind of fanning out to Main Street and residential streets as well. It's trying to get everything in there, but we did finally get it worked up and present it to where people were bidding on it and stuff. 100 South is still getting worked on. I feel like it's slowed way down, but every time I drive by, something new is, they're working on sidewalks and it's still moving along. But that'll be nice once that gets done. It's the locals way to city market. And then we just approved new lighting for the all street lights in town and stuff. So we're getting better, brighter street lights that will have a really good path shining down and stuff. That are NITAB compliant. So there's some good things in there. My business kind of perspective is, I think a lot like everybody else's. I think for the year, we're looking at pretty flat, and stuff, which we worked really hard to stay flat, and stuff. And then, but I can just look at this. I think we'll talk about this a little bit later. I definitely have some thoughts on TRCC, which we're a major collector for, and it continues to decline. And it's concerned. So.
Lori.
How are y'all? Oops, I messed it up. I'm just going to forget about doing technology and just try to talk. I'm going to piggyback on what Jason had to say. We have worked really, really hard to stay flat, and we're not flat yet. We're still working on getting up to flat. Would love to hear what he has to say about TRCC, because we're also a major collector. That seems like that data gets left out of some of the reporting that I think helps paint the narrative. Wendell and I in the Moab Office of Tourism have, I feel like, worked really incredibly hard and well to try to move the tourism promotion and welcoming message forward. And I couldn't be more grateful for the efforts of those that are trying to lift all ships. And I want to just thank staff for that, and the commissioners who have really taken it on to try to promote our community economically by supporting tourism so that we don't have to run the little old ladies out of town with their property taxes raising. So I feel super grateful that there's so much effort and that the momentum is starting to increase, and hopefully we'll start to see a difference in the numbers. Thanks.
We heard.
Brian's hand up.
Oh, we already did that. Oh, sorry.
Yep, I don't know if you remember me, Wendell. Yeah,
Okay.
anyways, thanks. Just a couple of things I wanted to go over with that came from the commission on this last agenda. So first off is Sand Flats is going to be producing a new video, and that's going to be on old growth forest. I think it would be a good idea to reach out to them because looking through their proposal, it sounded like they were going to be getting some amazing shots. And I would imagine that they would be willing to share some of that content. And I know that right now we're a little bit content poor. Another thing is the bylaws for MTAB were approved. And so that will be adding the city. And I believe that we've received a letter that Jason will be taking on as the city member right now. And then we'll be adding a 9th member. And that 9th member will need to be a TRT or TRCCA collector. And then also we did there was a lot of discussion on a special events modification on the intent to apply. So right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to move that window for the intent to apply to 18 months. And we're just trying to make sure that everything in that ordinance matches so that people have a little bit longer time to go ahead and promote their events. Also, just, from the conversations, I'm not looking at the numbers with you guys there, but I think it would be a good idea to get Campbell involved in a PR story about how we can maybe raise some of our TRCCA where we're seeing that big decline. I think that would be a spot where we might be able to see some improvement.
So,
I'm always happy to assist too, Brian. We can discuss at a later time too.
Perfect. That would be great. Thanks, Campbell.
Great, thanks. All right, so next on the agenda is consideration of future agenda items. Typically, not anything here, but we can talk about agenda items later too that we want to add. I would like to move though to Brian's point, agenda item 11 up to the top, which is talking about a new MTAB member. So since the commission on Tuesday approved the new MTAB bylaws, I'd like to welcome our newest voting member, Jason Taylor, to MTAB. And I don't think there's any action needed here, but we do need to now open it up officially to a 9th member of MTAB to be in compliance with HB 456. So we need to start making sure, I'll just follow up with the county to make sure that the applications it's open for applications, that we start receiving them, and then we can start scheduling interviews for potentially next month. Yes, Howard.
Nothing should be.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Isn't there a requirement that this board member needs to be one of the tax collecting entities? So that kind of discounts a lot of applications off the bat.
Yeah. And that should be part of the whole process too, to let people know. And then I know, like when I interviewed, it was, don't know who's going to be managing that process, but just when those applications start to come in, I know Dana's already received a few. So I'll talk to Dana to see how that process works. And I know there's a series of questions that I was asked that everybody gets asked, and Sharon, you got asked as well in this last interview process. So, but I'll just follow with the county on that. And I don't think there's any action that we need to do now, but we're just going to make sure that the applications, the process is open. We can start interviewing, potentially get people interviewing next week or next meeting. So the next item we have is Melissa Jeffers, is it? Yeah, Melissa. So you are here to give us an update on the Mud Springs bike trail update and potentially ask for some money, I'm assuming.
Both of those things now.
Yeah, if you could come so we can hear, the owl needs to pick you up for a public.
The owl is watching.
The owl is watching. So if you could just introduce yourself and tell us.
Hi, Melissa Jeffers, and I do public relations and economic development for the county. And I am here probably a little bit prematurely, however, because of how your meetings are structured. This will be the last one that would be an appropriate time to be able to talk about what it is that we're doing. So in a nutshell, because I like birds, I'm gonna use the bowling pin analogy, and we are trying to knock down a lot of bowling pins with one ball. With the opening of Mud Springs. So with the Mud Springs trail system, we're seeing this is a large opportunity for us to be able to do
Can
several
you just,
different
I'm sorry to
things.
interrupt you. So for people who aren't familiar with what the mud string, just do a very quick overview what that is. Just.
Fabulous. Yes, it is a new mountain biking trail system that is opening. It is unique as an asset to Grand County because it contains a few things that were missing at the brand trails that would allow us, for example, to host something like a NICA race event. So camping will be available. We're opening up the outer ring of that trail system, and we're sort of looking at it as a door opening opportunity for us to be able to really make a lot of noise about the opening of that new trail system and the asset that that represents economically to the region. Go back and revisit the launch of the Raptor Trail System, and then bring in all of the OG reasons why mountain biking is best in Moab. So we kind of feel like Vernal, Richfield, some of those other spaces are eating some of our lunch, which not that I'm competitive, but I don't love that. And also we've got other communities nationally that are really touting themselves as the mountain biking capitals of the country. And while they have great things to offer, we beg to differ. So getting some of that credibility back, starting with mountain biking as one activity of many activities where we feel like, you know, some people may have some really great paths through their community to get to bike trails, but there's nowhere else that you're gonna bike, that you're gonna get the kind of national park quality views and vistas from just our regular plain old trails. So we kind of see this as a ramp up to be able to really market that new trail system as an asset, doing some business development around positioning that for races, events, experiences in that area as an asset. And what I'm thinking that we would sort of like to position with this group, if there's appetite for it, is that we'd like to do a ribbon cutting for a few different reasons. The state of Utah has given us a lot of money to be able to complete that trail system, and we're gonna ask them for more as we finish it out. We also have had a fair number of volunteers that have worked to be able to complete that trail, and we need to remobilize them to get them out to finish the rest of the trail system. So what we would like to do is have a ribbon cutting ceremony on Friday, November the 14th, where we can invite those state officials and be able to thank them for the resources that they've given. Moving that over to a volunteer sort of celebration. And I would really like to do that for a few different reasons at the food truck park, and also feature the new beer garden, so that we could get some content and some assets to be able to share that as a marketing activation space that different companies could come in and use, making sure that they know that we have that as an asset if you've got a larger group that's coming in. But what we would like to do while we're doing all of these different things is do a content capture. So that while we've got volunteers and folks that are visiting for the ribbon cutting and kind of the ceremony or celebration that we have out there on the 14th, we can also get really happy folks that are bombing down the trail and get some really good video of that and some photography as that as well. Because the trail will then close 2 weeks later for the end of the season. And we'd like to be able to promote that heavily as part of a grand opening larger. So that's a soft opening, just to see how things are going. And then be able to use that content to be able to sell and market that asset during the off season. And then also to build up demand to get folks here for a long weekend, a long couple of weekends for a grand opening. Introduction of the Raptor Trail System that we kind of really didn't go out big or loud with. And then, you know, something involving the original trails as well. Like re-advertising, you know, Slick Rock and the whole enchilada. So that's kind of what we would like to be able to accomplish with the opening of this new trail system. And we just wanted to share that with all of you.
Yeah, sure.
So why is it closed? Why does it gonna be closed in the winter? Like, cause like Moab Brands doesn't close. They just, you know, if it's too bad, they just recommend not writing it. So why would you close a system?
You're gonna get a way better answer on this from the trail team. but it has something to do with a NEPA issue and.
No, it's a migratory, it's a migratory path for the elk.
Elk. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Here-
that makes
here
more
it is.
sense.
It's a nature thing.
Okay.
See, this is why you don't let me answer those questions. Ask me about the economic impact for Richfield and Vernal. It reopens and I wanna say it's early March. And so being able to plan a grand opening event would be fantastic, to be able to do during a time in between our ramp ups to see if we can artificially start inflating off-season spikes. And whether that's through selling this as an asset and a facility for events and experiences and races that are during those lags for us, or however we can position that, this is gonna be our last opportunity to really be able to do a content capture.
So is the intent, would you like to bring us something that we, I guess, can review to say you'd like to use TRT to save money towards the event, or if you'd like to give us a list of what you'd like to use, that would be helpful.
Yep.
That way we can, as a group, decide, what makes sense and what, particularly economically, because it's all about bringing people, the intent has to be to bring people into town. So if you can give us what that looks like, then I think that'd be an easy decision for us.
Absolutely, and I think just initially, so you guys know what to expect, I think the content capture is the thing that seems like the most aligned fit for bringing folks inside from outside. So that's probably the piece, and then also finding out the interest level of Madden and Campfire Stories to be able to double down on at least the grand opening event, the new trail systems, and
We've been promoting it too, so we're really excited about it. From Campbell from Camp Stories, we actually talked to somebody yesterday who was saying that she thinks it definitely qualifies for a New York Times 52 places list with this opening, with the kind of both sides of the state park and Mud Springs trail system, and but anything you do to commemorate it, that's another great news peg for us. So it's been fun to promote it. We're really excited about it, and journalists are really excited about it.
So for the.
Well, so the trail system is technically in San Juan County.
Yes.
So is the San Juan County Commission or their economic development, are they doing anything to promote, or do they benefit in any way in the situation?
it's one of the pens that we are trying to knock down with the same ball. So to answer that question, this has been a really difficult project. There's a little bit of history on both sides. I've worked really closely in conversations with San Juan County because this is the perfect partnership between the two. The trail system itself is in San Juan County, but they don't have the infrastructure that we have to be able to monetize that. So for example, they don't have our hotels, they don't have our restaurants, they don't have any of those monetization pieces, but it's sitting squarely in their space. And a lot of the funding came because it is in also San Juan County. So for us to be able to collaborate to do things like, for example, they would like, maybe to be involved in being able to facilitate food trucks. Or if they have any food and beverage businesses that could be invited to do things that are on site, if there is a race or a special event, they'd like to partner with us, knowing that if folks want to stay or they need a place to stay outside of a few short-term rentals in that area, it's Grand County that stands to get all the sales tax from that. So yes, it's in San Juan County, and no, they just don't have a way to really monetize it. So in terms of what they're willing to contribute financially, not a ton, because it's not going to really do a whole lot to be able to help them out economically. So we're trying to find ways that we can help them in the development of the future opportunity, that we can build up pent-up demand. For example, you got a NICA race, or you got several events that were coming to that area, and they are planning to build up in that area. They'll already have a pent-up economic demand by the time that they have something to be able to monetize them.
So for that November 14th, kind of a grand opening type thing, would you need, is there something you would need, since we're not meeting until again in October, to try and plan for this? Are there funds that you need in order to get this, in order that we would need, or work from Madden and Camp Stories? Is that what? Is that what you would like?
Yes, so in kind of soft having the conversations, I know that we're really careful about making sure that TRT is used really specifically. I feel like on the content side of things, having $12,000 to $14,000 as a budget to be able to do that content capture would be fantastic. Any help that we could get in terms of the event would be great too, because anything that we do to plan that event or that we spend on the event is just for the content capture. So what we need to be able to have a ribbon cutting ceremony or to be able to thank the state for come looks a lot different on camera than what we need to be able to capture if we're gonna celebrate volunteers or get happy people on the trail or get folks out there on a mountain bike. So I'm looking for feedback from this group about if there is any appetite to be able to do that. Because we're in the decision-making phase right now, kind of go, no go. Either it's a light, hey, thank you state and thank you volunteers, you're amazing, give us more money and volunteer more hours. Or it's a little bit heavier on camera, using that to be able to sell for a grant opening and then be able to market that asset for events and experiences and races.
Melissa, I have a question. Would you find it helpful if the Moab Office of Tourism helped to find the content creators for this project right here?
All of those things would be super helpful. And we've already had these conversations. To be honest, we're looking to see now, is there a budget and an appetite? Because if there's not a budget and an appetite, we won't do it. If there is, I really feel like I would hate to see this be a missed opportunity, meaning we've got a few good sales months between when that trail closes and when we could potentially have a blowout 3-day weekend here to be able to have a grand opening of that trail, a kind of opening of the Raptor system, and then to really reacquaint folks with the OGs, right? And some of the things that have been floated around are things like Easter eggs on some of the other trails, like similar to the National Parks passport stamps, where, you know, you can find the little geocached stamps on all the different trails. But I really think it's a good opportunity for us to kind of find our footing again and come back out as the mountain biking capital of the world. Cause like I said, I think other folks are starting to eat our lunch a little bit and I hate having my sandwich nibbled.
Jason?
So early March for the bigger grand opening, that would probably be around St. Patrick's Day, which could be fun.
It could be fun, especially with our new garden. And that's why I would really like to capture too, if we can, some celebration in the food truck park and with the beer garden, because all of these things, we need to be able to start gathering sales and marketing materials for all of our different activation spaces. If I'm a company and I want to come here and I want to have any kind of event, I would like to know, what do your spaces look like that are more unique than just a conference room, for example?
You could do a pub crawl.
Something, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I can be helpful in the content capture, the pub crawl, definitely.
We can be really.
I don't drink beer, but I can totally help. No, but in the content capture, as a film commission, I do represent Grand and San Juan County, despite everyone's, you know, and money that comes from San Juan is never as large as it is from here, but in terms of permitting and things that might be necessary with whoever does do that stuff, then I'm happy to help.
Jason?
I was just gonna ask, is there anything in the bylaws that, about, grants or money for events in other counties?
That are what?
Events in other counties?
Don't know about that. Have to check.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to like pull it up to see, because I agree 100% that like Moab is gonna benefit from this immensely, you know, this is huge, it's a really good thing, so that's not my question.
That's a really good point. And I mean, we don't want to silo ourselves, like visitors don't know what Grand versus San Juan County is, you know? And like we work with the San Juan County visitor director a lot. Her name's Allison, and she's great. And so I think this is also an opportunity to reach across the like county border. But it's a good point to test the legality of it. But I think as far as like, should we market things in San Juan County, I think that we should take that opportunity.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I think so too. I just.
What he's saying is, I mean.
But legally, yeah, that's a super good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collaboration.
Because if not, we're gonna have to take Mesa Arch off of all the photos that we kind of have it in.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
We have to take Dead Horse Point
Dead
out.
horse.
14 years ago, when I moved here and I first
Uh-huh.
started at the MIC,
Mhm.
there was
Yeah.
actually a person from the travel council office at that time that came in the MIC and wanted me to get rid of all brochures from San Juan County.
Well,
Because we shouldn't be doing anything with San Juan County. And I said, okay, I'll take all of the Canyonlands brochures out. I'll take all the Dead Horse Point. No, no, no. And it's like, that's San Juan County. You can't, you know,
Yeah.
people that come here don't know that right down the road, it's a different
Yeah.
county.
exactly.
It's Moab to them. And that's, I think.
Just a recommendation.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, just a recommendation might be, and I know that we have a lot on your agenda today, is maybe to make a, maybe to make a motion, someone for a $12,000 to $14,000 content creation for this project.
I will make that motion.
And then skip out on the events right there. Because I think the content is definitely something that the Office of Tourism needs.
You want an
Okay.
actual.
So we have a motion on the floor from Brian Martinez for $14,000.
Nope, not, no, I didn't make the motion. I was just making a
Sorry,
suggestion.
Sharon is doing the motion.
What's your motion?
What is your motion?
I make a motion that we, is it set aside or,
Allocate.
pardon?
Allocate.
Allocate $13,000 for content creation for the Mud Springs, openings,
Ribbon cutting.
ribbon cutting.
For the
Assume,
content?
assuming that's legal.
Yes.
Right.
Piggybacking on Jason's comment.
Send you-
Yeah. And we will do a legal review after this meeting to make sure that's legal. So there is a motion on the floor from Sharon for $14,000 allocated to the Mud Springs content
Second.
creation. Second from Alex. Any discussion? Yes.
Just again to reiterate, I just want to make sure we're in our lane for allowable uses of
Yeah.
our grant guarantee funding.
While I'm up here at UAC tomorrow or tonight, I'll make sure that I go talk to Jamie and to Sylvia, the county commissioners over there at San Juan County, and just run the idea through them, and I'll get back to the board if there's any kind of conflicts.
Then just quickly, when do we want to do it? When do we want to take the pictures?
Friday, November 14th. The reason why is they were hoping to have Friday be a day when people who are working that day and traveling with the state would be able to do it on a business day. But they could carry over into folks who want to make it a long weekend and ride.
But if we want like really awesome mountain biking photos or videos, can we do it before then? Just like on our own, set up a content shoot?
The trail won't be open. That's why it's the 14th is literally the first day that they pull the machines out and the trail will be open.
Okay.
And then it closes exactly 2 weeks later, and then the worry is weather. But no, it doesn't have to happen that day. The thing that would be beneficial about that day is that while we've got volunteers and folks out there to be celebrated, is the time when you're gonna be guaranteed riders.
Any further
That's why I
discussion?
say if the event is just kind of for content capture.
There was a second from Alex. There's a motion on the floor. All in favor of the
Waiting for
motion
discussion
to?
point.
Yes, there's more discussion.
I mean, it's kind of irrelevant. I was just talking about like the content creation is, so it's Friday, November 14th. Still have that weekend and November, it's just, that's all, it's like mountain biking season. So there's gonna be plenty of riders on the trail that whole weekend. I think there's just plenty of opportunity for content.
And so you're just wanting to grab the content that day, not.
No, I think you're saying just about any time
Okay, so spread.
before the season closes in December.
Okay.
But as close to that day or on that day as
Yeah.
possible, so that we know for sure that we're gonna have riders. Because, you know, if the volunteers are out there for the ribbon cutting, then we know that they're gonna be folks on the
They'll be
trail.
riders. Oh, yeah.
We can also
People are
hire
waiting.
talent.
Well,
I think it might even be
should-
better
I
to
think
hire
someone should
talent.
invite the, Grand County mountain biking team out
Yeah.
for it.
Do we need to revise the motion?
No, I think the motion's still for the money.
Okay. Okay, all in favor of the motion on the floor to allocate the $14,000 to the Mud Springs content creation? Say aye.
Aye.
And Lori, aye, it's unanimous.
Aye.
Okay, next is, thank you, Melissa, for joining us. I appreciate it. All right. The next one is, the kind of a longer one. So let's try and move along. The Special Events Grant Subcommittee update. Now, there's a few potential action items here, but I'll let Brian and Howard, or Howard, if you'd like to start this discussion. I know that you didn't include something in the packet, but if you could talk through your thought process is about the special events marketing, and it's been changed from special events to special events marketing for a reason.
Correct. Thanks to Cora and Sharon for meeting last week to kind of go over this. Really, the goal is to recharge what the purpose of this specifically travel council funding was designated for, going to our core mission, which is to establish and promote visitation. So with that goal to align with our mission, to offer funding to events, to have their events here for marketing purposes. This would be in addition to any event planner going through their plan document to get approval and permitting from the county, as almost a supplemental ask from our body to help them grow their event. And in the past, we offered a 50% match for events as kind of a hard, fast rule. And I think we're at a point where we can be a little dynamic with that matching grant opportunity. And best example for that would be to say that if it's a brand new event, first time ever, perhaps we don't even require a match from them in year one just to help them get the event going. But if the event takes off and there's traction and they feel like there's a value to the marketing money and continuing this event, we'll continue to help fund them, but diminish the amounts that we offer to them in the hope that they become self-sustaining as an event. I mean, honestly, within a certain time frame, maybe 10 years, I don't know, where they don't need us anymore because they've been able to do things within their own organization that covers these costs. And so that helps seed things and also offers funding in other areas. In the past, this amount has been set aside for anywhere between $60,000 and $75,000 a year, which I honestly think is quite a small amount from our overall budget to be offering for this, because it could really help our community with attendees and all sorts of events. So with that said, we need to create a system where this, and I know this was established in the past. I sat on many boards where it was a part and parcel of our annual operations as an advisory board, that we would sit and review all the applicants that were looking for this marketing funding. And that time, half the funding was given ahead of the event, which makes sense to allow that to happen so they can actually pay for the marketing. But the balance was never paid until there was a full audit done for the event and a report was received by the travel office, kind of ticking all the boxes. And once they'd shown what they did, they said, thank you very much. That's a good audit. We're successful. Fantastic. It wasn't so great. Fantastic. But here's the balance due. It's more about accountability with our event planners. And, you know, our lift is big. We've got to try and think of ways as a body to bring, fill out hotel rooms. Bottom line, we have a fixed capacity of lodging in this town. Our measurements are based on how full those rooms are. And so our goal is to use all assets possible to do this. After discussion, we realized that if the funding isn't used, that it's immediately restored to the general marketing fund for that calendar year. So if we had $60,000, only $20,000 was appropriated, immediately that $40,000 would be returned to the general marketing fund to establish and promote tourism. So one thing we need to discuss today, if we're okay with some of the dynamics, and I would have to really compliment the county for developing a really good special events grant process just to make sure the permitting is in place. That should stand. The post-event questionnaire is great. My only question I'd like discussion is impact. It feels very anecdotal. What is high impact? For me, if they sell 500 rooms or less for this event, that's probably low impact. But if it's a citywide type event where they're selling thousands of hotel room nights for a singular event, something like the Jeep Safari, for example, that's good. I mean, we understand that we're at capacity, there's no room at the inn, and all these users are going to be on one fixed mission as an event, which is very well monitored by the event planners. So it's a way for us to protect and preserve our general goals, to sustain our audit, if you will. So we need to decide on how much funding should be available. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Martinez for honestly, just on behalf of this board, for being such an active adjunct and getting really involved in the absence of a DMO to try and restart these processes. And he suggested a very lucrative number of perhaps anywhere up to $200,000 a year in the pot to entice
Yeah.
events to come to our community. So
Yeah. I had a couple things. Oh, I'm sorry, Howard. Howard, can continue. I'll go ahead after you're finished.
No, Brian, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah. Thanks for inviting me to the subcommittee. And just a couple of notes that I had from that meeting right here. These were some of the questions that we had from the board. One is the amount of money that we had, and if we wanted to do maybe 3 different tiers, maybe have one pot of money set aside for local events, another pot of money set aside for smaller events, and then maybe even a larger pot of money that would be set aside for something like a much larger event or a series of events, maybe like a concert series that would come through, or something like a rodeo, something that we would attract some of the larger promoters to come here and use our services. Another thing that we went through were the some of the goals that we would have with this grant right here. I think that it would be important to kind of stick to that and what we would be looking for. A couple of the things that we came up with were year round. So trying to promote, in the slower times of the season, looking for events that wanted to grow. So even if it is an event that's been in the community before, an event that's looking to kind of grow their event, and then also still supporting our existing events that we already have. I do think that we want to make sure that the people that have been keeping Moab, keeping these hotel rooms filled, are still able to participate in this grant. And how that structure looks, I think that's a big question for the board right here. The tasks that we had is Howard went off and did this application that we're looking at right here. And so he's the person who I think put in most of the work right there and getting this accomplished. And then I went and talked with Madden and with Camp Stories about actually advertising the grant. Because one of the things that I would think that we would need to do is just cast a wider net on the grant. I wouldn't want this grant to be going out to the same participants over and over. And I'll just read through a couple of the ideas that we kind of came up with in the grant process is music, river, night sky, rodeos, craft events, food, dog agility events, holiday events, motorized events, agricultural events, motorhome events. Let's see here, gem and mineral cultural events, hunting groups, medical and fire department or search and rescue style events. But going ahead and using Madden and Camp Stories, and I think Campbell can kind of hop in and talk a little bit about it, to go ahead and make sure that this grant application process is spread out nice and wide so that there's more people that apply for it.
And it's out of turn. Sorry about that, Brian. How about some film festivals since Sundance is going away? Moab's a great place to come and watch film as long as we have a venue.
Thank you.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, and from a PR standpoint, we're obviously very attracted to anything that's going to help us promote the seasons of winter and high summer too. And so I think adding things in there, we'd love to help incentivize that however we can, Brian.
And then we talked with Madden about maybe even putting together the information that Campbell might be able to go ahead and spread out. And so that we would have, a wider range of applications that would be due sometime at the first of the year. And then we could go through those applications and make that award, sometime in Q1. And the couple of things that I thought about from the county standpoint is once they received their had gone through the intent to apply, then they could receive their 50% right there. And then after the event, when they return their reports, they could receive their other 50% of that grant.
And some of the things that we have to work with the commission with is, we're obviously going to have, this is our goal for this year. Middle of next month, we open a window for these applications. So we need a little marketing ahead of that to help, wet the pot. And you run that marketing for that application process until the deadline, which I would actually run for 2 months. So, mid-October to mid-December. At that point, we'll have all we've received. in our January board meeting, we would have to invite these grantees potential to do what we used to do, have them present to us and go through that whole process. And in that meeting itself, finalize everything. That can immediately be turned over to the county commission to approve it. The big ask with the county commission is that we also discussed the window, because obviously any event that wants to happen this January, it's too late. I mean, there's no time to do effective marketing to promote that event. They need time. So maybe effectively January 2027 is a better window to start thinking about it. So with that said, we want to open the window for applications for any events from January 2026 to June 2027, 18 months in one go to see what comes in. I have no idea what will happen, but just to kind of get this restarted with the ultimate goal of returning this whole process into its more natural middle of summertime decision making, because that aligns with all the budgets and everything else. It's kind of happened. We've kind of got to commit money, but we don't really know where that money is going to go until next year. We just have to have that assurance from the county that we can go ahead with this.
So there's a few things that it looks like need to be really discussed today and approved. One would be the budget allocation. The other one would be the application, that is the draft application, so that we can get this up and running and people to apply for this grant. The third thing would be the timeline in terms of what you just discussed and whether or not we agree if that's the kind of scope of how we want this to work. And then the last thing that we need to talk about as well is who manages this process, because it is a bit more of an undertaking. So
I apologize, I got a lot of paper here. Is the draft application?
No, all you have is
No, we
budget.
didn't print that up. That was on the packet that was sent to everybody.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, no, that was sent to everybody and part of the.
That was a draft for the marketing grant.
Okay.
And there's a lot of TBDs.
Okay. My question is, so like the 200,000, when you were like talking about tiers, you know, can we just budget 200,000, or do we need to say,
Yeah.
hey, we want 50 for this, 50 for this,
the
to
fine
determine the
tuning
rest,
needs to-
and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah,
I really appreciate the funding events that are already going on, you know, and stuff, because I remember in the past, you know, these events used to be a 5-year window, you know, like, hey, we'll do this for 5 years, but then there's a lot of people who have events where part of their grant process, they're going out trying to find money other places. They're like, does the local, you know, travel council or DMO or whatever support you, you know, and they had to show some sort of financial support from, you know, the county or the city or whatever. So I think that's a great idea and stuff. I would make a motion to, is 200 fair? Like, is that
More?
you know,
So,
so
yeah,
so
the
they're
idea
thinking-
that I was thinking, Jason, was is something
$250,000.
like, yeah, the idea of the 200 was something to try to draw some larger event promoters down here to Grand County. So, and I was really thinking more like a series, you know, somebody that might be able to pull something in here, you know, let's say a summertime concert series that would be able to come through and really be able to liven up our summer, or a winter series that would be able to come through and really, like a rodeo that would come through in the winter and really be able to provide some revenue for the town when things are a little bit slower in the off season.
Right.
If that 200,000 wasn't used, we could put that back into the fund for next year, right? Because I would imagine
Well,
that
you
money
said a
is gonna be
quarter,
coming
you know,
out.
you said $250,000, you know, so say, you know, I would make a motion of $250,000 for events, but I would like to see a 24-month window and stuff, because if you're doing big groups, a lot of times they're 2 years out. They've already planned June 2026. They're looking at June 2027 or August, you know, so that would be my preference there.
open the window to up to 24 months.
I open it
2
24,
years,
yeah.
So if they have an event annually, would they apply twice or
They
would?
keep coming back. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can reapply within the 12-month period
yeah, that's
or the
kinda what I was-
24. I mean, if you're doing a 24, what about the people who aren't totally prepared, but are within that 2-year period? Do you know what I'm saying?
But if they know that the
Yeah.
thousand available on an annual,
Yeah.
is an annual,
An annual.
available on an annual basis, they can, you know, start the application
Well, it's
process.
400, or 500,000 every 2 years, if I make
Two.
because it's
Yeah.
250 a year. But the window is 2 years.
But we do this every year for a 2-year window,
It's a massive.
Does that make sense?
Year, for a 2-year window.
for 2-year windows.
It's a rolling,
And what we don't use, we just
Yeah,
keep.
because it takes, I mean, if you want large events, they need lots of time to figure it out. Just
Yeah,
like
right.
we're saying, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
take
get
it-
that part, but
they-
like, say we have an event like February and they have one every February. Do they just ask for money for both events since it's open for that?
No.
No, I would say it's,
Yeah.
it's 250,000, or you're asking for money per event. You have up to 24 months to do your first event, you know,
Okay.
and stuff. And if it's, you know, and then if they're in February, then they need to come back again.
Gotcha.
You know.
And the goal would be, you know, I mean, one of the things that I've heard concerns from board members just watching the board action is that I think some events just expect us to have that money available for them every year, and they don't really seem to be working towards other avenues to support their cause. And I would like for us to kind of encourage that of events to really, you know, build their events up. I mean, I know some events in this town that do great, like I think of the half marathon in November. She doesn't do any advertising for that because she's almost got the same 2,000 runners coming in. But I would offer money to her if she wanted it, you know what I mean? But she doesn't need it. And that's the, you know, the really high the high standard of what we'd like to see our events grow into.
Yeah,
organically.
absolutely, but you also remember too, like, all they had to do was, change the event slightly. So I thought it was great because it didn't allow events to, if they wanted the money, to stale. You know, they'd be like, hey, we added an extra night that we're gonna be doing this, so we're using this money to promote, you know, whatever, you know, or we added an extra concert series, you know, so it required them to keep evolving, you know, their
Yes.
So you've made a motion for,
250,000
and that's for a 2-year.
up to.
Can
24.
we say,
You can do a
that,
second.
because a lot of things can be fine tuned, or the discussion,
So
go
a
ahead.
second.
We need a second.
What's
Then
that?
you discuss. You need a second.
Oh, sorry,
and
yes.
then you discuss.
I'll second it.
So discussion. So within that 2-year time frame, I think that your point of having these segments of from one point to another in terms of application, I think that can be fine tuned. I don't think we need to do that today. I think that's part of the subcommittee. Right now, we're talking about a 2-year window, and then we can decide the rest later on. As long as we have agreement that that's something that we can work on and fine tuning that 2-year window, that would be the way to go.
Yeah, sure.
So, all right, that's our first motion for this. There might be another one. So we have a motion on the floor with a second to approve $250,000 with a 2-year timeline for the special event grant, special event marketing grant. All those in favor? Lori?
Nay. Nay,
Yay? Yay, yay, okay.
that's a no.
Nay?
Was that a yay or
I
nay?
think it's a nay.
It was a no.
Nay?
That's a no.
Okay.
So we'll get the budget allocation, the application that was posted as part of the packet. Did everybody get a chance to review the actual application for the grant process?
Is that the one we have on the screen?
That was
there?
one that was on the screen.
Yeah, I did.
So that was the draft of it was basically the same application with changes from the previous events. Special events grant. It's on the screen now.
Sure.
Because we do need to approve something to be able to go public with, in terms of this process. Yes, Laura.
Thank you for recognizing my only thought in looking at this
Yeah.
and being part of that subcommittee was if there was a cutoff, like maximum attendance. Might be
A maximum,
number of attendees, like if there was a certain cutoff. Like for,
that's something that actually Mick brought up in our meeting we had, was potentially coming up with a fact sheet for what is possible, allowed and not allowed type uses. So it's something we can discuss.
yeah, like for a building, there's a fire code restriction on how many people can be in that building.
Yeah.
And that's why with any type of,
Normal, then,
like 238.
Well done.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
races, like
The
particularly,
high use event will still have to be approved through the county. So, this is just casting the net out right now. And as these applications come in, that there's going to be some work involved in going back to these people and saying, I'm sorry that this is, how do you plan on mitigating these events, and getting them in touch with our special events, Jenny Beth, and with Angie over at OSTA, to go ahead and make sure that these events are going to be able to fit with Grant County.
And again, the matching part does kind of get our event organizers to buy into this whole process. It's not fully granted monies in a sense. To get some buy-in by the organizer too.
So the application, is there a motion or? Do we? We can,
I'll motion to approve the application.
what's that?
Motion to approve the application.
We have a motion on the floor from Cora to approve the application to go public for the special events marketing grant.
I second it.
Sharon seconds it. Open for discussion.
Just again, I'd like to define number 8. I mean, I know it's in the ordinance, but I'd like to understand what that means. I mean, what is impact? What's defined as impact? Is it for too many people, too many people? I just want some clarity on that as far as what that actually means.
And to Brian's point, I think as well, some of that gets fine tuned where they actually have to work with the special events process.
It looks like there's an ordinance too.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a link. to the
Yeah,
ordinance.
there's an ordinance that's right now being reviewed at the commission.
Yeah, there's a link to it.
The only thing I would probably put in here, and I guess we could figure it out, is like, have you received funding for this event before and how much?
Past history.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, can you explain the match and what the match is a definite, like, if I haven't, okay, it's just.
It's at our discretion of our board. If we want to give 100% grant and for a new event, that's at the discretion of our board and ultimately the commission, if that's what they want to do. But I kind of like the idea of the matching because it does put a little bit on the event organizers to come up with some money too. I mean, it could be 10% of, if you get up $10,000, we want you to put 1,000.
I'm just thinking like the hoedown hasn't happened since 2019. Excuse me, it's about to happen again this October. It's to raise funds for the bike park and for really cool things and trails. They're getting funding, but do they, again, it's like that.
Commensurate to what they can actually think that they can come up with themselves. If they can only have $1,000, that's their budget for marketing. They have $100 maybe, or it could be 50. I don't know. That's where we would determine what, they'd have to plead their case to us and see, what we would, give them. That's why it's dynamic, if you know what I mean.
Just a clarification on that 250,000 that you guys approved, is that going to be for an event or is that only for the marketing?
That was my next question. That's what I was.
Because I don't know if that was caught in the motion right there, and I do think that should be caught right there.
That's why I declined, because it didn't have enough discussion or definition.
I do think that you want to make sure that this is for the marketing right there. This is a marketing match on this grant. And then the second thing is, as you're approving this application, I'd also recommend that you look to add in that you approve both Madden and Camp Stories to add in on assisting with spreading this grant out, with making sure that it's dispersed through these different groups.
I also think it's important to look at the amount of revenue that's going to be generated. We have a lot of companies that have no problem getting a grant and in getting help, even though it seems to be just supporting their business bottom line. And I think those people can do a heavier lift as opposed to getting a grant.
So the motion that was on the table has been approved for 250,000. Are we now wanting to revise that motion, put a revised, even though it's been approved, can we revise the approved motion? Is that something that we can do?
I just think clarification on that would be nice.
Okay.
What clarification did you need again, Brian? Sorry.
I just need clarification on if that 250,000 is for events or if that 250,000 is for a matching marketing grant. And the reason why that's so important, and the reason why that's so important is because we need to know which pot of money that we're pulling this out of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because they are restricted funds.
I mean, this
It's all
was,
TRCCA, TRT funded, so it has to be to establish and promote tourism.
Yeah.
and this
Perfect. I
wasn't-
just wanted to clarify
Was a
that. Does that,
marketing grant.
I'm not in the room.
Yes.
Does that feel like consensus with the board?
It's
This
entitled
is
to
a
marketing
matching grant?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Marketing grant, not.
And then.
I agree.
uh,
It's not for purchasing a new stage because they want to do something like that. It's for marketing the event and promoting the
Yes.
event.
Yes,
And I
yes,
feel like I'm with Brian. I
Let's-
think that we were a little hasty in our vote and didn't clarify important details.
Yeah, thank you for that, Laurie. And that's why we actually renamed it from the special event grant to the special event marketing grant, to make that clarification.
Perfect.
So this is a discussion on what's that?
Application.
On the application, yes. We have a second from,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
okay. Do you need a second?
We're
No, we're still in the
there was a
discussion.
second, yeah.
Okay. Since it is marketing, can I say that thing again?
Yeah.
Would it be, worth having a question in here is like, where do you plan to market your event? And, you know, and who do you, or give us a brief description of how you plan to market this event.
Show us budget of how you're gonna spend this money.
Yeah, or just,
Paid, earned, whatever marketing.
just explain to us where this event is gonna be marketed, how you're gonna market it, you know, this like web, grant, you know, or
On
something.
the report on the backside, we expect to see receipts
Yeah, for sure.
to get the balance of the funding. This is Scottish in me, I'm sorry.
Well, the old application had that all in it. You know, I had put the receipts in.
That's receipts. Good. So would somebody like to put a revised motion to include the description of the marketing, in the, application before it moves forward?
I'd like to, well, who made the motion? They can amend their motion.
Yeah, they amend the motion, yeah.
Oh, I guess I did,
I'm
yeah.
new- I'm new to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, marketing.
To
I make
include-
a motion to,
Amend.
to amend the original motion to include marketing.
And.
Can you restate
To
that?
include so this was for the application to include the description of the marketing for the applicant.
Yes.
Just say
Yeah. Okay, zero.
Can you say that one more time? Can you clarify that?
Yes, so the motion on the floor is to approve the special event marketing grant application with a caveat to add the brief description of the marketing included by the organization applying for the application.
I second that.
Second by Sharon. Any other discussion items? All right. all
Just
those in favor?
1 second, just real quick on your discussion, just once again, are you guys also going to be authorizing Camp Stories and Madden to assist in the publication of this grant?
That was actually a separate thing that I had, but we can do that.
Oh, okay.
Yep, thank you. So the motion's on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. The other one was to, with the special event grant process to, have, Madden and Camp Stories, or to look at having them, as a scope of work for them to be able to do this as well. Don't know how we want to do this as a motion, but I think that, Brian, to your point, to be able to make this successful, to try and reach out to as many people as possible and let them know this is available, to get the word out there, and we're limited in our capacity to do so. So I'm not sure how that works with Madden and Camp Stories, but if we'd like to solicit their involvement in this.
Madam Chair, we could ask them,
Yep.
Campbell and Leslie. Do you have an idea?
Quickly.
Do you have an idea of how we develop a scope of work so that the board could vote on your involvement in this? The invoices separately for the work, and do you have an idea of?
Yeah, speaking for Madden, we would come up with a separate scope of work. So some of that would be specific to marketing. Some of that also, I think, for discussion would be
around partnerships where we think those people would be who would be interested in putting on events, thus having marketing. So things like the outdoor festival, things like that. And so, yeah, we would come back with a proposal of what that would look like. I think what that could look like initially, and then kind of what that sustained process should look like, especially as we're looking at that kind of 24-month window as far as when they're applying and when they can have their event.
Yeah, and I would echo that as well. We can put a separate scope together and have some ideas there as well. We'd obviously be aiming at going wide, targeting the right events and partners in the right spaces and channels. Aiming at really bringing more vibrancy, I think, in the long term into some of those shoulder seasons as well, where we need heads and beds. And I thought Lori had said something, I think it was Lori that said it really smart about targeting organizations that also might be bringing something back in terms of vibrancy to Moab as a whole, and maybe incentivizing in some way through our communication method, somebody who's going to be in Moab for the long run as opposed to a one and done situation.
So I would entertain a motion for just allowing Camp Stories and Madden to do a scope of work to be presented to the town.
I'll make that motion.
I'll make them. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's all right. We have a motion from Sharon to have Madden and Camp Stories put a scope of document together for the board's review for promoting the special events marketing grant. And is there a second? There's a second from Alex. Discussion. Yes, Lori.
Are we in the weeds too much to say, for example, we're giving a $50,000 grant from someone to promote, but that could be in kind if there's a $10,000 invoice from Madden, instead of giving $50,000, we pay the $10,000 and the $40,000 goes for, we've got to figure out the devil's in the details, and I don't know how much of that we need to decide. We've got about 3 minutes left, so.
There's some.
I mean, you're gonna pay them $10,000 and then the other 30 is gonna go to straight to media, right?
That's just hypothetical, but if we are contracting with our experts to help make this event successful, at some point that bill's got to get paid. So we have to sort of determine who's driving the bus and who's making sure that money gets distributed. I mean, at what point do we put that in the detail? Just hypothetical.
I think you're confused. The money that what we're saying is that we're gonna have Madden and Camp Stories promote the actual grant process, not the grantees.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my understanding as well. I know in the past when we've done things like this, it's like, here's potential vendors you could use that could help you support the execution of this grant. But the way we were approaching it is, how do we heighten the awareness and get people to apply for the grant versus supporting the people who have then won the grant.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I would echo that too. And we would be aiming at getting the right people in the right organizations to apply so that we ensure that there's kind of vitality throughout this, because it's a win-win for us. If we get a great event during a time of year that we're looking to promote, it just helps our cause more.
Awesome. So we're going to let the folks spend their marketing money as they wish. So I get it now. Thanks.
Howard.
Is this part of the scope of our contract that they could do this as part of our work for?
Right, no, this is out of this. This is a news line of work for them. That's where we have a question.
Just my clarification.
Okay, so there is a motion on the floor. There's been a second. Any more discussion? I call for a vote on the motion to have Madden and Camp Stories do a scope of work document they can present to MTAB to promote the special event grant, marketing grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, in terms of who manages this process, I'm part of the applications, there's some TBDs. I think that's something we can discuss as a subcommittee. I think to move on, let's just go on to the next one. If you guys are okay with that? Yeah. All right. And making sure that everything is up to date and online and available. The next one is the Christmas Tree Festival, new county initiative to bring people into Moab in the off season for Christmas. This one, Brian, if you want to speak to this very quickly.
Yep, I'll make it real quick. We're looking to light up the bridge over the Colorado River and then the walkway path out there to the $1 million tree. And that's the tree where we built the path around the big cottonwood out there. And
When you
we
say
would,
you're saying the county, correct?
I'm saying the county, yep. So, yep, Grand County is looking to do that. And so what we would be looking for is we'd be looking for $49,000 for this board to authorize $49,000 for the commission admin to come in with three quotes to go ahead and give to the commission to approve this spending right here. This is going to be in conjunction with a holiday kickoff that Camp Stories is doing with a festive tree, and Allie will be able to speak to that.
Right. Howard?
I mean, I think this is great. I think as an overall broader strategy for our winter market, this could be going to be incorporated as a broader like January, December, January. It's a nice kickoff, but I'd like to see the momentum continue and spread that, marketing effort over the whole off season if possible.
And so has everybody had a chance to review the Camp Story promotion? They are asking, the Moab Office of Tourism is asking for an activation to be able to put this in place. So we'll actually have two motions available or action items on this. One is for, and Brian, can you just tell me the 39,000 is for lights?
That's for the purchase of lights to light up the bridge and then to
Yep.
light up the walkway. There will be an additional request coming that will be for generators that will probably be required, and then also for the manpower to put those lights up. So the $50,000. Go ahead.
And we feel that this is in line with TRT by bringing people into Grand County as part of the festivals because we're expanding the festival. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, we have a marketing campaign there with the festive tree lighting. There's going to be a marketing campaign to push this out right here. So the point of this is to bring people into Grand County.
Great. What is the third, Ellie? You said there might be 3 action items or no? What were you saying?
Sorry, it's $49,000. I think we said 39.
Okay.
Yeah, Brian's asking for 49,000.
Okay. Any discussion about this?
Do we have to be concerned about dark sky enthusiasts that we're going to be lighting up the night sky?
I think you're working with them already.
Okay.
They're already something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sensitive.
Yeah. Okay, so the items that we need to
This is different from the lighting the tree up.
Yes.
And flats.
yes.
There are 2 expenses.
Right. Okay.
It's going to be
So
just
kind of-
part of a whole week right then. I mean, because you'll have the tree lighting at Swanee Park. You'll have, I think that the city, and Jason can speak about the city, putting in new lights down through downtown. This little area right here that we're talking about lighting up. And then you also have the festive tree that Camp Storage is putting together out there on the Sand Flats Rim. So, and then also working in conjunction with the chamber as well. And the chamber is going to be trying to put on, and Cora could speak to that if you guys have time, on the chamber's initiatives to generate some business during that time of the year.
I think it's a great opportunity with the chambers, the festival to make it bigger, to make it better, to try and get people here in off season. Personally, I think it's a great opportunity. So yeah, I'm open to some discussion and then we can go for some votes. Yes.
There's a motion being made.
There's no motion been made now.
I'll make a motion to approve the funding and agency involvement for the expansion of the Moab Chamber of Commerce Electric Light Parade and Tree Lighting event.
For $49,000.
$49,000.
2 separate motions.
Yeah.
So Brian's asking for $49,000.
Yeah, there's 2 separate.
To approve the funding. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve the funding in the amount of $39,000 for the lights. $49,000 for the lights to be displayed across the bridges and art.
I'll second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. And then the second motion, or this, if somebody would like to make this, for to get Camp Stories for their activation of the Camp Stories to be inclusive of this whole tree, lighting the bridge and the tree.
I make that motion.
Yes, and the motion is,
They have Camp Stories. Go ahead and release the
Festive tree.
festive tree activation.
What's the amount? Is that the amount in there?
$79,500.
If you want to.
it's a lot of paid media as well in that, if you guys have a chance to look at it.
Expenses if we want.
I thought the 70, didn't the 79,000 also include the 49 that we just approved? I can't keep that many screens open, sorry.
They're separate. No, they're separate.
79,000 includes a lot of paid media.
Yeah, all of that is in the scope of work.
Okay. That's fine. I like I said, I can't keep that many screens open.
No worries.
Lori,
Okay,
we
so-
also have we have an SMT, a satellite media tour within that is what's being referenced. Where
That's what I was looking at. That's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. Okay.
All right, was there a second? I'm sorry. Was there a second on that? No. Alex seconded it. Any discussion? Any further discussion?
What is a satellite media tour?
What's that?
Yeah. Great question. Campbell, do you want to explain what a satellite media tour is?
Sure.
Yeah, in a minute.
Yeah. And I will add too that we're also working with BioLite Goal Zero, which is another Utah company that does solar power banks to power this thing, and they have volunteered for free to power this tree, which is kind of cool. A satellite media tour is where we go into media markets of emphasis. So markets like Salt Lake City, Grand Junction, Texas, LA, Denver, Phoenix, and we actually create a script and we come out and we actually capture these lights that Brian's talking about and the tree on sand flats that we're describing. And then we do a media tour that appears on all these morning shows in all of our major markets of emphasis. We pay different fees depending on the market. Bigger markets cost a little bit more. They range anywhere from $1,000 to usually about $5,000 for like LA or New York. And then they literally have our messaging on there. It looks like exactly what you would see on a morning show. So it doesn't look like it's paid. It doesn't denote that it's paid. And our goal here from a strategic standpoint is really to promote exactly what Brian is talking about as well, promote winter travel to the destination. And I don't know, Courtney, I know you're on as well. I'm not sure if you had any.
Really quickly, Campbell, I'll jump in. Good for Utah, how they do like the shows, that's actually paid when they come down here and do some of those things. Hoodoo did it last year for Christmas, so that's kind of those sort of things. It's expensive.
So it's not exactly the same as that or like the Colorado and Company, which is like the known paid segments. These are segments that are in your actual news broadcast. So really the viewer would never know that this is a sponsored piece. And that's kind of the beauty of the satellite media tour. But I wanted to add to that, we also have a full court press pitching strategy aligning with this. So we're talking about really the holiday magic that is Moab, encompassing of all those beautiful lights on the bridge, this amazing tree, and really pulling back to some history notes, like Ed Abbey's quotes, right, about these juniper trees in Christmas time. So it's a full campaign, and we'll also be pitching this to score some earned media to supplement this. And really the goal here is millions of impressions, and just total earned awareness of Moab and talking about Moab in that winter season to get more travel there.
So all those in favor, do we vote on this? We did not vote yet. We asked for the satellite tour.
No, Sharon made a motion.
Seconded.
Alex seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next one very quickly is the review the opportunities for America 250 60th Safari World Cup. Thank you, Howard, for bringing some of these to our attention. 2026 is a big year with a lot of the big events that are coming. People are coming in from all over the world to the World Cup. They're going to be playing in Dallas, Houston, and San Francisco, Los Angeles, a number of places. But those are the ones that are closest to us. The idea here is to have Madden include strategy ideas for these events in their 2026 media plan to be presented in November. So really, rather than have a big discussion here, I think that I think is we have a lot, we can come up with a lot of the ideas in this room, but I'd love to have the professionals work on this as well and come up with some ideas on how we can take it back on some of these big events, including Jeep Safari. So rather than do a big song and dance here, I would love to have someone make a motion to, or an action item to include the planning for America 250 World Cup and Jeep Safari, as well as others, into the 2026 media.
I'll make a motion to approve potential action to assign agents review of inclusion in the 2026 media plan, America 250, the 60th Jeep Safari in the World Cup, and other potential events happening in 2026 that benefits.
I just was wondering, do we have to vote on them every time we want them to do something? Or
No,
is it just?
This is,
I
we
mean, I
want
thought
to,
that's part of their
Just to
job.
approve it.
yeah, this is just like, we want to make sure, because it's not currently in their scope of work. And so I want to make sure that we have a unanimous decision. We want this to be part of their
Okay.
scope of work.
I was just
And
curious.
it's hopefully
because
good
there's like
direction
three-
from the board.
This is like,
Yeah.
So
Like
Leslie's
the
listening, she's writing it down, and then when she comes and presents it, she'll add it. Because you guys asked for
okay,
it.
because, yeah,
No,
to me, it seems like we're, basically micromanaging them,
Yeah,
saying you have to do it, you have to do this.
I was asked like to
Okay.
mention, so, yeah.
Do we,
I was just curious.
Yeah.
It seems like that's their job.
we have to put like a financial, like a monetary cap on it, or are we
Right.
asking them to look at this?
Right now, they're
and
working on
back?
their plan anyway, and so this is to include that in their scope of
Okay.
work. And so I just want to
So-
make sure that we're all on board to, it doesn't even really have to be an action item, but I
Okay.
wanted it to be one, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we would like that to be included in the next year's action. And so you've made the motion. Is there a second on the floor?
Second.
Cora seconded it. All those, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Madden, I know you've done a lot of work on our audience profiles, and Leslie, if you could keep this very quick, we are running into some very short time here. So just, if you could just in 2 minutes or less, just tell us what you've done and what you're gonna do with these audience profiles. Everybody's had them in the packet, so they should have been able to look at them. So if you could just tell us what you're doing with those and why you created them.
Yeah, perfect. So what we've been doing is working with the board here and coming up with kind of evolving what we were utilizing for our audiences. So we are able to utilize survey information that helps us understand not only who our audiences are, but the things that motivate them, the things that they connect with further. So we came to you all with some initial audiences, but we're able to really open that up and broaden that up a little bit more, thanks to a lot of the feedback and collaborative work we all did together. So we use these audiences to really layer in across what we're doing for our media tactics. Again, also using that to fuel creative, to understand what are the things that people are going to connect with, not only what are they interested in. So this again helps understand our audience better. And this is what we're using to really create personas. So we wanted to make sure whatever personas, however we were integrating that into our media, it was really backed in research. So the information that this comes from is a tool that we use, but also it's updated about every other month. So we're also able to see how these audiences are shaping over time. How are they looking at planning trips differently? So each one of these gives you a little bit deeper dive into the information that we're utilizing to plan with. But yeah, just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page here, as well as provided an overview of how we get to these audiences and how we continue to refine them.
Thank you so much. Any discussion?
I was part of the revised audiences, and I'm astounded to have read how female dominant this is. Leslie, remind me, is that because that's who's making the reservation, or that's who's traveling?
Yeah, most of the time it is that the woman is the one who honestly kind of both, right? That they're driving that decision-making process, but then also following up to then book those trips and kind of complete the planning piece of that. So obviously, especially with that family piece, you're seeing that very much predominantly female.
I just want to thank you, Leslie, for, oh, go ahead. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Leslie, so much for putting all this together. I just wanted to make sure all this was available for the public. I actually have had quite a few people reach out to me, and they're very interested in this information. So great job on the presentation.
Yeah, and appreciate this team's input and feedback. Thank you guys for always being willing to provide more insight and information to make sure that we get it right, and love that this is a collaborative process. So just appreciate this team's efforts.
Thank you, Leslie, Campbell, for you guys and Courtney for coming in today. I appreciate it. That's all we need from you guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for all your hard work.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Then I'm actually going to combine two items as well. I'd like to combine item 8 with item 12, agenda item 8, which is talking about the goals, and item 12, which is a TRT mitigation application update. With regard to the TRT mitigation application that we created months ago, it was finally approved and is up and out and in all departments. So now people can apply for the TRT application. In terms of the goals, Alex, we sat down and we were getting very aggressive with some of these timeline, or ambitious. One of the ones were the letter to be approved in August before the budget season. Obviously, that's not happening. A lot has happened, but we have done a lot of these things on our goals. I'm actually kind of happy with the progress we've made. We did get the TRT mitigation request. So there's no action items here. I just wanted to let you know that we are going to still, I think next year we could potentially can have the budget review by August. This year is just we're behind on things for a number of reasons. And for we still would like to do a biannual report to the commission. Well, but it's not just to the commission, it's to the public, to let the public know what we're doing, what we're working on as a board, and what the Moab Office of Tourism is doing, so people can understand where we're at. Obviously not in August, but we would like to do it in October. So just to give you an update on the goals, we're still sticking with these goals, just different dates. Yeah. Any other discussion on that? And yes,
just a question.
Yep.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just saying the TRT mitigation, and thank you, Alex, for you were the one really pushing, trying to have a more formal process on that. And I think having that is a good thing to have paper trail as well, so that it's not just somebody coming in and saying this is what you guys should approve. So that's great.
Great.
Yes, Brian.
Oh, and then is that I guess I could look up the goals, but I'd lose my other screen. Is the mitigation letter, the recommendation letter, will that be out then in October? Because that would still fall in actual line with the budget advisory board. So at your next meeting, would you guys be able to approve your mitigation letter?
We would like to, the whole process, we'd like to be able to get all of the applications in so we can start to review them in our next meeting in October. Yeah. Okay. Quickly. Ellie, who is Moab?
I came into this job wanting to do this project. I first brought it to you guys in February, and we approved getting quotes. We got quotes. Then we chose Real Creative. This project was always going to be a small bite of just focusing on 4 people, making small social media videos about how cool Moab is. It's one thing for our paid advertising to say that you're welcome, but it's another thing for an actual local to be speaking to visitors. And so we gave Real Creative the leeway to do their own research, choose people. I want to emphasize that this is not a business highlight. They chose 4 people who they thought would really capture different pieces of the community. So they want to highlight Serena Suplee, who is an artist, Dave Hellman, who is an off-road guide, business owner in the community, James Talkstein, who is a rafting guide, and he's a really big piece of kind of the younger community, and then the Welches, who are a 7th generation Moab family, and they have like a dirt biking business. So really these videos will be like Serena Suplee, like painting on the, on the daily, and then like Dave Hellman doing a backcountry tour in Arches National Park. James rafting and talking about like how wonderful his experience is being a rafting guide here. And then the Welches talking about the history of Moab and like how their family has seen this change from pioneers into, our tourism business. So this is under contract. They're gonna be here in about 3 weeks to film, and we're really excited, and hopefully we'll have the videos by like January, February. Yeah.
Just how are these individuals selected? Is there a process that these specific people are asked to do this, or is there any input that the board could maybe, because we know a lot of folks in town that we could, so that person should be, just wondering how that process is.
These were already done, so we gave Real Creative the license to do that. That's all kind of laid out in their deck and ICA that was approved, that they would choose these people. The way that it happened was we were like, okay, we want 4 different videos. We want something about the art community here. We want off-roading, we want rafting, and we want some sort of biking, whether that be, dirt biking, mountain biking, what have you. And so I gave them a list of all the guide companies I have in town. We connected them with Rebecca McAllister at Moab Made, who helped point them to artists. And then they did all their own research because, this is like, we picked Real Creative for their creativity and their aesthetic. And so we wanted to give them the leeway to be like, these people will fit with the project that we were chosen to do. But I like to think of this as like season 1. If there's appetite to do more, then we can absolutely do more of these videos, and then we can highlight more people, which would be awesome.
And these will be available as part of the Moab Office of Tourism, like content bank.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, that's a huge piece of this, is that all the B-roll will go into our media library, which like local businesses, journalists, everyone can use for free, which is awesome. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, any other discussion?
Great.
Can Ally just move the gravel adventure guide down a bit, just,
Yeah,
I
for sure.
think it's a great thing, but I really need to, I know we're gonna have some time till the budget, so I'm gonna move on to, we've already gone through agenda item number 11, and we've already gone through agenda item number 12. So let's go on to agenda item under 13, discussing and approving budget for November in-person visit. Now what this is basically an exciting opportunity to bring all of our agencies of record together in one place at one time. So Camp 4 Tourist, who you guys haven't met yet, is our new branding agency. You've met Campbell Levy and here in this room on screen. You've met Leslie and these guys on screen, but it's an opportunity for all of these people to come together. At the same time, the Utah Office of Tourism will be in town doing their DMO visits. And so in discussions, we thought it would be a great opportunity to have an event where we're actually bringing the people who are showcasing Moab to the world to the public, so that the public can potentially meet them as well. We can meet them. A lot of money is being spent on promoting Moab around the world. And I think the public, we've talked previously about including the public more, and this is an opportunity for them to see what we're doing and the people who are doing it. But to talk more about it, I'll leave it to you, Mick.
Yeah. So the first thing to note is the board meeting, your board meeting has been moved to the 12th. The 11th is a holiday. We're proposing that all of the agencies of record will attend that meeting and give presentations in person. Like Wendell said, an opportunity for you guys to meet them. And then there's,
sorry, what date's our meeting in November?
November.
the 12th.
The 12th.
It's been updated on.
The November 11th is
Veterans Day.
So just note that, and then we have the event that Wendell described in the works could be that night. UOT does in market visits, so they'll be coming the community relations group. And I think Brian can talk a little bit more about the community event that we're thinking about, but like Wendell said, it's an opportunity for people to come out and meet our media agency, the new branding agency, and our PR agency.
And us,
And
I think, as
potentially
well.
we'll do some sort of activity or some sort of information collecting at the event so that it can feed into the branding project. Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think this would be a good opportunity for Camp 4 to come out and actually, I really do think that they should be designing it. So whatever way they feel is best to collect that information, whether that's roundtable or presentation for the community. I think that once they get back to us and tell us how they want to do it, I think that we could come back in October to this board and ask them, any ideas for making sure that we gather the public and have as many community members as possible there. I do think that we should probably focus on the people who we are advertising or marketing, and then also all the community members that are here in this town that take interest in this. I think that there is a lot of people that are interested and want to meet and find out, and meet all of our new agents because there has been so much work done in this office.
Town hall.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Any
One of the
questions?
challenges that I have just a couple, Wendell, just following up on what
Yeah.
Brian's saying.
Absolutely.
One of the key points of focus that we discussed when choosing our branding agency was how do we incorporate the community and get involvement from not desperate, but disparate groups, so that we all feel like we have some sort of connection. And that was one of the big things that we tasked Camp 4 Stories with, to try to bring us all together. And I feel like what Brian was saying is this is an opportunity. We have different demographics in Moab at different times. October, you've got a different group. March, you've got a different group. July, we've got a different group. So we just tasked them with something that was really essential for them to come and get to know Moab at different times. So that was one of the big ideas with putting them in charge of this, rather than there was a little bit of murmuring that Trails to Tomorrow didn't really gather as much information as we would have liked for our community outlook. And so we have some big hopes with this, and some big asks of the branding, but you know what? They're talented. And I feel like that if we can all as a community start talking about how to come together and share our ideas in an organized way, that we can get headway in our brand. That's it.
Yeah, and as part of that, Laurie, just to dovetail on that is, yes, Camp 4 tourists, they were, as part of their scope of work, which we'll be talking about just a moment, is to come here and do a series of workshops. And this was, they were gonna be here doing this anyway, and so we thought, let's do a bigger community event so that everybody can meet them, so, yes. All right, the next item is sorry, yes.
I was just gonna offer up the mic. If any gatherings or any events or whatever, I
Oh,
mean,
perfect, that's
we
great,
could always use the mic. We have the auditorium, we have,
Oh, great.
if it's nice out, it's perfect
Yeah,
outside.
that's
So,
perfect, that's great.
Beautiful grounds.
Mick, take it out.
Mick, take the mic.
Mick, take the mic. Mick, choose the mic. Okay, the next is airport billboard. We don't have one here. I'm going to ask the subcommittee members to please review the emails that I and Mick have sent with the creative so that we can make a decision on those billboards. And whether or not you think them or not, so we can't do anything here today. So please, the subcommittee members for the airport billboard, please review the creatives put forward by Madden so that we can review them and give an approval to Mick.
I will just kind of, if I may just interject, as far as the airport billboard goes, we've discovered that when we weren't doing anything to solicit it, there was no interest in the billboard whatsoever. And now that there's potential for Contour Airlines, there's been all of a sudden everybody wants a piece of the billboard. So we're going through legal to see where we stand as a county and, who gets rights to use the billboard. So just that's going on the background.
Perfect, no worries. Next is a long document, which I hope everybody's had a chance to look at. And I just want to point out here the amazing work that Mick has done with Camp 4 and Tourist. This scoping document was a amalgam of theirs and Mick's work. And we're still working on it. There's still stuff we added today to potential that we think might be added to that. And so This is just up for discussion now. To think if there's anything that you think is missing from that scope of work, then please talk about that now. It's a lot. And Mick, yeah, feel free to chime in. I mean, talk
Yeah, I
about
just wanted to get this in your packet so that you know what's happening. The timeline for it is to get it signed and start work by October 1. As Wendell said, this is everything that was in the proposals that were in your packet previously. And it's going to be the output of this project, which is 3 phases. I wanted to show you guys so that if you're expecting something, you could speak up now because it's the best time to put it into the project. So I don't know if anybody has any comments on it, but some things that we're working through. We have 2 travel planners. We have an outdoor adventure guide and a travel planner that gets mailed. And that is currently not in the scope of work. Camp 4 picked up on the outdoor adventure guide, as we talked about that a lot in the selection process, but not the travel planner. One question for our office is, do we really need 2 different guides that are 60 pages and 80 pages? It's a lot of content. It's a lot to print. I think it's something that we've kind of inherited. And part of this project is to kind of reassess everything that we're doing and making sure that it makes sense and that they're good marketing materials. So that will continue, and we'll either add in a line to produce a travel planner or just acknowledge that we're asking them to kind of come up with a plan. And the other thing that's kind of presenting to me is that, the scope of work is really preparing for a campaign, like an advertising campaign. There are 4 shoots that are outlined in the scope of work. And as I look at our website and just how we talk about Moab generally, we have a lot of assets to photograph. Like, do we want new pictures of Delicate Arch? Do we want new pictures of Mesa Arch, the LaSalle's, in town? Go on and on, Fisher Towers, all these things that we want to illustrate. And I just think that, I'm opening it up to you all, but I think that I'm content with the shoots that they've outlined. And I think that as we work through it, we might get some of that, but it's something that we're going to want to think down the road that we might want to continue to invest in photography, because it's probably one of the most compelling things to get people to come in. And the last thing that I'm sort of noticing, we wrote this RFP in April, and recently there's been a lot of conversation about international marketing. I'm starting to think that we might need a specific international approach, and that's currently not. We don't have a plan for that. Europeans come to Moab for very specific reasons and with different timelines. For example, multi-week trips, and they go to all the national parks, and they come in from San Francisco and leave from Vegas, things like this. And what is our real hook to make sure that they're not skipping over Moab? This project doesn't outline an international specific campaign. And I think, like Lori said, this does a lot for our office. It's really cleaning up a lot of the work that we're doing. And these are just a few things that stick out to me that will pursue down the road.
Well, as the branding agency, do they need to know, do they need to focus on like an international plan as well? Or is that more of Adam's scope?
I'm thinking about it as like,
mostly we want them to focus on what Moab is and like who we want to bring here, and it's not, and like what is our message, and not so much like we need to really worry about an international plan with that right now.
And Madden could definitely do it, but if we wanted a targeted campaign, we might need to set out as, they can serve ads to international markets. But if we wanted to come up with like a whole campaign of why, a traveler would want to come here, we might have to scope that separately, if that makes sense. One thing that came up in the branding selection process was an idea like being known as the crown jewel of the American West. So if we had that idea and then we went out and shot it, and then we planned a market where we're specifically planting the idea, like come to the US for the parks tour, can't miss this, and this is why, and this is what it looks like, and this is the history or something like that. That's what I mean when we have to kind of scope that separately. And I'm feeling like we really want to influence international tourism, that might be something we want to consider.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you again, Mick. It's a lot of work. Trust me, I know you've done some amazing work with them. Okay, we're finally down to the budget review. Now, I just want to make this as a reminder that this is a preliminary budget review, and which is going to be a quick overview of what they're presenting us today. And also just a reminder that a lot of departments are having to cut back right now because of the drop in sales tax. And so the purpose of the Moab Office of Tourism and the Monument Valley Film Commission budgets are to increase our sales taxes. So when our budgets, we look at these and people look at the numbers, we're trying to increase our tax base, also to make sure we're in compliance with TRT and TRCCA legislation. And I know we have some finance people here today to help guide us in that direction. Brian, you've been working with them on budgets. How would you like to go through the budgets right now?
I think that maybe they can come up and then just present kind of where we're at right now and then the forecast of where we're going to be at in 2026.
The finance people or us? I missed the first part of what you said.
Yeah, you cut out.
Yeah, was that for Gabe?
Okay. Yeah. I think that we could have Gabe and Chantel come up and say that where we're at right now as far as, currently with our TRT and our spend, and then where we're looking to forecast out for in 2026.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone.
Hello, thanks, Gabe, for coming.
Yeah, so we have.
I'm sorry, and who's?
We have here Chantel Lindsay.
Yes.
I introduced her in the commission meeting after I hired her, Chantel Jensen, and I'm never with that now. I don't know where it came from. I think there was like a clerk from a different county that has since retired with that name, and it's stuck in my head. So Chantel Lindsay here, she's the finance director that's replaced Stephen Bouts. Stephen actually just popped in yesterday. He's doing well, so I'm sure he sends his regards. And so, yeah, we're just looking forward to picking back up and improving and, on what Stephen was able to establish in 1 year in a new position here at the county, and that he spent a year in and kind of got that seat warmed up. And we're looking forward to improving on that function and improving the relationship my office and this finance role with this board, and just keeping this relationship free and open and well running. I want to just start. We need to postpone a presentation on the figures related to TRCCA. So we're working off of some documents about forecasts that Stephen had prepared. And I actually, after these went to print, I was looking at some of those charts and noticed a little bit of error, an error in how some of these numbers are generated. The error actually doesn't create a big difference in the scale of the numbers, but ultimately the projected TRCCA here, that there could be a plus or minus there of 50,000 to 100,000. So enough to say, like, I know that these numbers aren't 100% accurate, so we shouldn't present on what is printed out here. I do apologize for that. I'm glad I caught it though. And we'll just, I will say we'll follow up with material by the end of this week, more specifically regards to TRCCA figures that we know are accurate. Yes.
Can I just ask a general question? I know there's a lag time from the receipts being received by the county. And I just want to make sure that when we're looking at data, that we're not misreading the data, that the numbers that are collected for January, which really stood out, and one of the taxes seemed like a huge amount. But if it's from 2 months prior, that makes sense because November's a pretty busy month. I just want to make sure that the data we're looking at is really addressed to the month, understanding there's a lag from the money coming from the state. I think it's 2 months, right? Isn't that the?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And so just with that said, when I present year-to-date numbers here, it's purely on when the distribution was received. And so what I have here as revenue year-to-date received as 4.6 million. That's based on revenue that was received by the county through August, but of course applies to activity only through June. It would be correct. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you have any would it just be important to footnote it or asterisk it whenever material is
I think
presented?
people sometimes look at numbers, and when I looked at the numbers that we had last month in our meeting, some numbers really jumped out at me, especially like January. We're
Right.
not that busy in January, so just to kind of reflect when the business actually takes place. I mean, I think when we looked at data in the past, we always understood that. That we're kind of looking, we haven't seen the income from, the current month or the 1 month prior, so that just helps, clarify that there is a lag.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Gabe.
Yes, Jason.
On like the TRCC and the other one as well, on the vertical side of the graph.
Yeah,
Is
those
this
labels
like a
are
monetary or something?
Yeah, the labels, I think perhaps a dollar amount scale got accidentally converted to a date.
Okay.
Sorry, we didn't catch that.
No, okay, am I reading this wrong?
So yeah, we'll clean up the sloppy work. Sorry about that. So revenues year to date, that's what we've collected through August, through the distribution that we received in August. Projected year to date, that $4.8 million, and we're talking about TRT here. That's the amount that reflects the mid-year amendment that the commission adopted. Also came with it in updated projections on what we would receive in TRT based on what had happened in the first half of the year. And so that 4.8 million does reflect the amended projection that is currently entered in the budget. I will say that we've received 2 distributions since that projection. It's been a little bit rosier. But I think 1 more month of data would be useful before sort of proposing to update wholesale these projections. And so currently what I have listed here is that updated projection that is currently reflected in the county's budget as expected to be received through August in TRT, which would be 4.8 million, but actually received 4.64 million. And then that budget, the overall budgeted projection, again, what is reflected in the current amended budget. There's actual expenses related to the Moab Tamanu Valley Film Commission, actual expenses related to Moab Office of Tourism. And then a total of those 2 lines. And then ultimately a projection for 2026 that encompasses a 4.5% rate that would be applied the entire year. And so that's why you actually see an increase from what is currently entered in the budget of 7.64 million to what we project to be 8.03 million in 2026, because there's of course a increased rate from 4.25 to 4.5%. And sorry, I didn't break out the 56 for mitigation. But essentially out of that 8.03 million, there's roughly 3.5 million that right now can be reasonably expected to be collected in 2026 for establish and promote type activity. And so that would mean roughly 4.5 million can reasonably be expected to be collected in 2026 for mitigation activity. I guess if there are any
Perfect.
questions or
Thank you.
comments. Yep. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. Thanks, Chantel.
All right.
Thank you, Allie, for working the screen. It's awesome.
Yeah. That was so typey.
Nick and Allie, do you guys want to go through just your budget real quick, just so we have just I don't know, Wendell, how much time we have left? If we have time for them just to present it real quick and move through, or if you guys want to call the meeting.
Sure. The budget you have for you totals 2.3 million. Allie's done a lot of work going back into our budget and cleaning it up. This reflects normal expenses and contractual expenses. As Gabe just said, TRT is projected to be 3.5 next year. We also have a reserve account. I think the question for this board is, what do we want, or what should our total number, budget number be for 2026? Right now it's 2.3. And Gabe has recommended something between 3.4 and 4.5. Brian's been involved in looking at the rules that apply to the reserve account and how much you can hold. And we, as I said, Gabe is projecting that to stay within those requirements, we need a budget of 3.4 to 4.5, and we can confirm that. But I guess if you guys have time to look through the budget and comments on what our planned expenses are, you can send those to Brian, and Brian will forward them to.
No,
Mark
it would be
Tyner.
Mark Tyner. So yeah,
send it to Mark Tyner.
any of you guys'
Regional
comments on
expenses.
the budget or any questions, all of those questions can be addressed to Mark Tyner.
We addressed Mark Tyner, but we need a total budget number. And then we have, you know, a list, our office, Ally and I have kept a list of potential expenses, things we could invest in for 2026 to make up that difference between what you're seeing, 2.3, and that total number.
So you're saying that we need to increase our budget from 2.3 to 3.4 to 4.5?
Gabe is recommending that the budget be between 3.4 and 4.5 for 2026. And we should confirm that with him.
Is that because the splits change to what our requirements are?
It's a combination of what is collected in 2026 and the reserve.
In reserve, and just to make sure that we don't go over the 50% reserve limit.
Yeah. And does
Which
any of
if our projected is at about 8 million, that would be 4 million right there. We wouldn't want to go over and be non-compliant with that.
And does this include any of Madden's new recommendations for media?
It does not.
No, 223 does not reflect Madden expenses yet.
And that's a new, yeah, it's not.
Yeah. They sent us their recommendations to the tune of like 1.4 billion. So that would put us at 3.7 for a total number.
Can you remind me the deadlines we have as a board for when we have to have our numbers in order to get the commission?
So they, I think the goal was, Brian, to have this presented to us to approve in the next meeting in October to be presented to the commission as from our recommendation.
Our budget.
The commission obviously.
Meeting for tourism and film is on October.
That's going to be changed.
Well, it's October
But it'll be
14th.
after your.
Well, that's a whole process you have to go through anyway, and they have this a whole nother line of, so this is more for us, if we have questions, because they have to go through a whole line by line process with the budget advisory board. On how money is being spent, but this is more for us as a board to kind of be comfortable with. If you have questions, please make them publicly known.
Would it be advisable for us to have a workshop prior? Oh, go ahead, Bill.
No, go ahead, Howard.
What,
Please
Brian?
finish.
Go ahead, Brian.
Brian, go ahead.
I was just saying, this is just an opportunity for everybody to have a chance to look at it. And then we have this next month to ask questions, to make recommendations. And then I don't know if, like Howard was saying, if you guys want to have a workshop prior to your next October meeting so that we can go through, actually have the time to have done this, have time to have reviewed it, had all of our questions answered, so that when you guys approve this budget, Mark Tyner or the new director, depending on who is at that spot right then, is able to go to the budget advisory board and said, this budget right here has been approved by the MTAB board.
I know the workshops are hard for a lot of people as well, so I don't know if that's a subcommittee type thing or a workshop. Just, I know that for time frame, some people are unable to do workshops, so it's pretty important.
So does this have the film commission budget in it too?
Yeah.
No, the budget is a separate.
Okay.
The yellow one.
And just, it's 5:01. Can everybody stay for a few more minutes just to get with this final thing? Is everybody okay with that? Yeah, okay.
It'd be great for us to know if you guys would like to have a workshop so that we could schedule it and then we could plan for it. Or how you want to proceed. You have a board meeting on the 14th.
October 14th. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's the budget advisory board meeting.
We have a board meeting on the 14th. Do you want to have a workshop before then? And if so, when?
I'd recommend that. Before coming at 2. Let's have an hour workshop.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m.
Do we
On
need
that day.
to,
Just the one day, yeah, 1 hour before two.
show 2 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Could
So a workshop before our board meeting.
Yeah. An hour.
Would it be possible to do it sooner? Just so that we can hear what you guys are saying and then have time to. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big budget and I guess we could talk about what we expect to come out of the workshop. But it's, if you have the workshop on your board meeting and then you have to approve the thing on
Yeah,
that
we
day,
actually can't.
we'll
do
have no
that.
time
We're not
to.
supposed to do that.
Okay.
We're not supposed to talk about, if we're gonna have a discussion or an action item on that meeting, we can't have a workshop that same day.
Okay. I think I've seen the commission do that where they have a workshop and then they make a decision later that evening. So I just wonder if that's absolutely.
We talked about this before, or that we're not do that.
Nonetheless, it would be beneficial to us to
give
be
you
able to
time
have some time to get a
Yeah.
budget together that's really
Yeah.
clean and that you could just approve.
What would you
And I also
propose?
be on a panel in Price on the 14th. Stuff, for film stuff.
Does anybody have any suggestions on a proposed workshop date prior to the commission meeting?
What's the minimum
October
time your
7th.
office would be?
No,
Let's do
Not-
October 7th.
No, October 7th is a commission meeting.
Oh, then let's
What
don't do
about
that.
September 23rd?
September 23rd would work for me.
So 2 weeks from today?
That would work for me.
Same.
I can do that.
Also,
As long as you have a quorum, pretty good. I mean,
September
workshop.
23rd,
so
Rebecca?
September 23rd.
Yeah.
workshop.
At what time?
3. Well, I don't know.
Because that has to be advertised, right?
Yeah, we'll notice it. Do you guys want it to be the same time as this meeting? Does that work for everyone?
3 or 4 is good for me.
Yeah.
3 PM?
Is it, yeah.
And you'll send us a reminder, I'm sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
An invitation will be in the
But
mail.
only an hour.
In the mail.
And we'll put together kind of expectations prior to the workshop of what we'd like that to look like.
That's great.
Give us phone
How
numbers.
much time do you think that will be?
Probably 2 hours.
2 hours.
And Viga, you have the same,
I do, I haven't been given any kind of number as to what the film commission can work with out of whatever the magical pot might be. I've asked a number of different entities and there isn't one. I think that the way film commission the budget, it comes out of a different pot now. It's not the 43% of 3.2, it's not it's changed.
Yeah, we're all in 3A
We're
now.
all in 3A, so there should be more money available. What I have done pretty much is move the same numbers from 24, 25 into 26 with a little bit of an added thing. I can look at it, we can talk about it. I'm also trying to take the international approach. It's been working really well. I had a very successful year so far this year, not just with the Godzilla Kong film, but a lot of commercials and other things happening because of the international networking events that I go to and the relationships that I have from those. So my request is to be gone a lot, potentially to have an assistant, potentially to have a bit of a raise and to figure out a bigger budget. So because the more I spend to be more forward facing at these events, the better it is. So yeah, the numbers are here for the basic draft and I'm happy to talk it through, on the 23rd or whenever to go into more detail about what all of those things are. You can see from what gave us, the TRT spend from the film commission expenses of $121,000 versus, 1.1, not, it's a very minimal amount. Then I feel that the film commission has worked. It's been a struggle, but I've worked very well using that, but more is better.
I just want to bring up, it's been years we've been trying to get her, the film commission, an assistant. It's a very minimal ask. I mean, a part-time assistant, just to even have somebody here in town still that's here in town when she has to go off on these other things, would be beneficial, and to lighten her load a little bit. I highly recommend an assistant if that's at all possible.
I did just get the numbers from HR for the possible for 25 hours a week or less, and what that would mean. It's for some reason my computer won't pick up right this minute, but it's average about grade 7. I think it's 30 something to 40 something thousand a year for part-time.
That's cheap.
You know that we
cheap.
have we should be looking at at least according to Horizon, we should be looking at candidates for the director position probably within the next 2 weeks. And so for any type of, talk about staff, I would want to make sure that the new director has input on where we're putting new staff and where they've kind of foresee and envision the department.
Great. So we will definitely work on kind of what that workshop looks like, so there's more structure. And so everybody look at what you've been presented, and then, make questions, comments, get it all together. If you have any specific comments that you would like or questions you have for the group of Mark Tyner is actually the person, because he's responsible for their budget. He's the acting director. Like Brian said, there is no director, but there will be one, and they might have a different say on all this.
And I am trying to put on Moab again, and that would be actually on November 15th, which does bring people in from outside. And it's a great opportunity to make movies in town.
I just want to kind of, as a strategy to really, work together, the Travel Council, and it's great having movies here, especially in months that we don't have a lot of tourism, which I know is often a hard ask to, have a major production happening at a major time of the season when we're busy already. So the more we can do to entice movie making, and the times we really need the hotel rooms, which is outside of the Goldilocks, it's hard, I know, but.
I get it. Harold, I've been doing this 10 years now.
Just to
I mean,
reiterate.
I've literally been doing this 10 years, not just for the county, but prior with the city. And I get the world, and it's never up to me what their schedule is, but I definitely pitch it. I'll pitch it off season for winter. The red rocks with the snow is extraordinary to look at. Hotel rooms are cheaper, but you can fill them. But the project that was just here was during an off season, and it did make a very big impact on this community in a very big way.
Oh, I'm not denying. I just
and
want to make sure that we're not, the general course of high season business is not interrupted by a film production that doesn't necessarily generate the same revenues across the board that just general FIT visitors do in busy seasons. It's all just to be sensitive to that. It's a balance. I get it.
Absolutely.
I'll see. If you have 5 more minutes, if not, we can postpone until the next meeting. The travel adventure guide that Ally was wanted to present. If you don't want to stay. Does anybody have 5 minutes?
Please. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so in theme of piggybacking off of like Mud Springs and this kind of relaunch of the Raptor route system, these gravel adventure field guides are really cool. They're it's this company that started like a few years ago, but they make these like gravel biking field guides for destinations. So they work with DMOs. A lot of our competitors already have these, like Fruta, Bend, Oregon, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And so this is kind of like a different take on our travel planners. It kind of hits one of these niche markets. We get a lot out of working with them. So we get the whole book, and they print how many copies?
Wait, tell us what it is.
Okay.
Tell us what gravel biking is. Tell us about the phenomenon. Tell us about what they'll do for us. They're gonna plan these routes.
Yeah.
Tell me about that gravel bike.
Yeah, okay. Gravel biking is really exciting. It's this kind of niche segment of biking here, at least when people gravel bike. Basically, they're building like rigid mountain bikes. So it's not like a road bike that can also go on gravel. It's basically a mountain bike. And a lot of people are getting really into this, especially here. And so this was brought to us by Wendell originally, and then we reached out to these folks to talk with them. We looped in trails to see, if this would be generally a good idea. We looped in the BLM. both of those groups are behind this project and would love to help us. And so what we get if we do work on this project is we get the book. We get 11 maps. So like an example of one of these maps is they use Ride with GPS. So like, you know, here it could just be biking through arches via Willow Springs, which is a really excellent ride. All these rides are like 30 miles. They're not super tricky, but you know, we could highlight some of these unique back roads. And we get the book design, we get print and web content, we get PR released to like the Radavist and bike packing, we get a film, we get content on our website, we get thousands of books printed and custom distribution plan to reach our audiences in whatever states that we want, and also, you know, distribute it to our biking shops in town. And the production schedule is like 4 to 5 months. So the budget options, we would want to skip the advertising and do this like 6 pages of a longer feature story and full page photos of our, you know, bike product here. And so we would ask for this $69,000 to $87,000 budget range.
The reason I brought this is it was handed to a friend of mine at Ely is I just thought, just design wise, it was fantastic, but Bentonville is now saying it's the mountain biking capital of the world. Fruta is now trying to nip at our tails a little bit. So anything we can do to continue to build our reputation as being the mountain biking capital, and if that means we have to branch out and be a little bit more and go into some gravel biking, I think it's a great opportunity. I also thought these were great as a stepping stone. I'd rather not just, you know, this is a gravel guide, but we can also relay this into other things in the future. But I just thought the presentation of these are great, and the way they do them, the approach they take is really amazing. But you know, I just think to stay competitive, we need to look at what we could be doing. So whether it's this or other things, I just think that this is something we need to, type of things we need to do.
I'd like to say that I really thank Allie for chasing this down right here. I think she did a fantastic job of bringing us all this information and sticking with this project. The thing is it's really easy to give me just 1 second, Mike. I'm still in this meeting right now. It's really easy to go ahead and look at what is happening right now, and I think that this might be a little bit more of a future kind of buy. And I think it's really great to have some foresight on where Moab might be looking, you know, here in the future. So I just really want to throw my congratulations out to her and just say thank you.
I also have one other comment is the only concern I have with the budget, and I've talked to you already about this, was to make sure before we kind of do an entire budget that we have the BLM, everybody on board, not just on board, but we have the trail system. We think there's going to be enough trail. I don't want to pay for a product that when we don't have the trails to support it. So
yeah, definitely. I am a gravel biker. I think that there are a lot of really good trails. And I also think that doing this project now, we could get it started like as soon as possible. Obviously, these things take a long time. And as you can see from what Gabe showed us, we've only spent $1.1 million of our expenses this year. And so this can be, you know, the start of like, maybe we use this as one of our smaller creative projects. And in the future, we look to like, okay, how could we do this for off-roading? How could we do this for climbing? How could we do this for these like niche markets? And so I think that it's good to start it now. But I understand if.
Sorry,
yeah.
do you need a motion?
Yeah, so I need a motion to bring this to the commission.
Is it 69,000?
It's between, what is the budget?
It's between 69,000 to 87,000.
I do have a question.
I want to have one more point of discussion. Go ahead, Sharon, you be first.
You just said thousands will be printed, but
yeah.
So, but how many thousands? There's
Yeah.
a difference between 2,000 and 20,000.
Yeah.
100,000.
Or 100,000. And then is this reprinted every year? And we have to, you know.
Yeah, good question.
So is it going to be a yearly cost?
Yeah, it won't be a yearly cost. If we do 87,000, we get 25,000 printed field guides. If we do 69,000, we get 10,000. And I can ask for more clarification if there's a number in the middle that we want to do, how many guides they would print then, but it's very custom. And they emphasize that in the meetings that we had with them, that this is like, they create these based on whatever goal we set for them, and then they match it.
Also, something to note is the distribution, like they already have their distribution network set up. So it's not like these are gonna be sitting in our office. These are gonna be in bike shops all around the country.
Okay.
So there's already an appetite for these. So bike mechanics are saying, as I understand it, I'm not a gravel biker, but I've watched Ally process. They'll, recommend these books to people. Sometimes they give them away for free.
Yeah, look at the way at gravel races, things like that. So ours would be, they would print these 25,000 printed field guides, and then they would distribute them across the entire nation, and they would be given away for free.
So I want to make sure that we are in flavor of a true DMO, promoting the whole mountain biking vibe in Moab, as opposed, let's keep the playing field really level. I think we're not doing always a great job. Sometimes we just turn a project over and let other people pick. I think we need to make sure that we keep this playing field level among, so we don't pick winners and losers among our local mountain bike companies.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, these would be distributed, we could give them to all of our local bike shops. There wouldn't be like picking people, and we, we could use this, like our story wouldn't have to feature a business. We could talk about like the history of the Slip Rock Trail.
Awesome.
Or use, okay.
I'd like to,
Sorry, Cora, did you have some?
Well, I was just kind of clarifying where Lori was coming from. Are you saying like gravel biking versus like e-bike or
Road bike.
road bike?
Yeah, like, is it just for gravel biking?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Is that
this
for
would be
e-bikes?
just for gravel biking, but our gravel biking routes are very rowdy, and so it would be, some like mountain biking routes on there too. And we can include like, here's your minimum tire size, here's the type of bike we recommend. Things like that. And a lot of these gravel routes too, like this one, for example, is on a paved, there's big paved sections, and that's pretty typical of these routes.
My only fear would be that all the other user groups are gonna see this for the mountain bikers, are gonna say, where's ours? So
Bring up user groups, and I want to say that we need to start small. We need to go one by one here. We don't have the capacity to do everything at
I think as
once.
long as we have that kind of pledge to our other user groups that we're working on it, and this is just our start, that will probably help diminish some
Yeah,
potential criticisms.
it's like we gotta start somewhere.
You know,
and
I'm
we
all.
have to just do one at a time because there's only two of us. So,
I'd like to make a motion to approve 10,000 copies so we can see how it goes this year and see how many get distributed and what the effectiveness is. And then as our effectiveness increases, then we can go ahead and print more. But I'd like to go ahead and approve 10,000 copies to move forward with this project.
I'll second.
And that amount is the
that would be
$69,000.
$69,000.
Can I make,
69,000.
can I make a substitute motion to just go for the 87,000 and 25,000 copies?
When's the break? What's the break when usually when you order more, you usually get nice breaks.
What was the substitute motion? I'm sorry.
Well, it's to go for the full amount,
What was the full amount?
87,000. It's just not, it's not that much more money to get 15,000 more copies, so that's 25,000 more hands to get this in across the country. And I feel like the gravel bike industry, like the audience there are like affluent type people who have money, and this is they're seeking, and I feel like it's a really great audience to go after. And I feel like if we're gonna do it, you might as well just throw a little bit more money at it and get a lot more out to people's hands. Like,
So we have a substitute motion on the
No,
floor.
you have a-
Sorry.
No.
you have a motion on the
but no
floor that
second.
needs it.
That's,
So I have a motion on the floor as a second for the approval of the 10,000 copies at 69,000. So the substitute motion is by Alex for the full amount of 87,000 for the 25,000 copies of the outdoor adventure gravel guide.
second.
And Howard, seconded by Howard. All those in favor? Lori?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, there's a delay.
Excellent. Hallie, I'm glad we squeezed that in. Thank you very much, everybody, for staying. We, 22 minutes over, not that bad, you know, but, thank you. And, these are not to keep, by the way. Are they?
No.
Oh, they are. Well, give me mine back.
Yeah.
Give me mine back. No, sorry.
You're on the back.
See you guys.
Okay, so I'm gonna call this meeting closed at 5:22. Thank you, everybody, for coming today.